first day of senior year felt different, like a shift in the air that I couldn't quite explain. You know that feeling when you walk into a room and everything just seems heightened? The sun seemed brighter, the hallways louder, the usual background noise more like a soundtrack than just idle chatter. But none of it mattered, because there he was, Seth Anderson, and I couldn't help but stare. I had noticed him before. Everyone had. He was one of those people who just had a presence, the kind that pulled your attention without even trying. Tall, effortlessly disheveled brown hair and those eyes, the kind that held secrets, ones I desperately wanted to unravel. But that day, something about him was different. There was a confidence in the way he walked, like he had just realized his own power. And somehow, that made me even more determined to catch his eye. But let's be real, Seth was out of my league. At least, that's what I had convinced myself. I was just another face in the crowd, and he was the guy. The one everyone wanted to be around, the one whose smile could make you feel like the only person in the world. And yet, even knowing that, I still let myself dream. And right then and there, I made a decision. This year would be different. I would get him to notice me. The next few weeks felt like a movie montage, where every hallway encounter and fleeting glance was set to an imaginary soundtrack in my head. I memorized his schedule without meaning to, knew exactly where he sat in class, when he passed through the halls, maybe even what his locker combination probably was, not that I'd ever admit that. But I wasn't trying to be that girl. I just wanted a chance. Then came the opportunity, homecoming. Somehow, miraculously, my best friend Emily convinced me to join the decorating committee. Seemed harmless, right? Just putting up some lights, setting out chairs. But let's be honest, I had an ulterior motive. If I helped with decorations, I'd have a reason to be around him. Not that I'd ever say that out loud. The first day I walked into the gym to help set up, my heart was pounding. The air smelled like fresh balloons and paint, the walls still bare. And then there he was, Seth, standing by the punch table, looking effortlessly cool, like he didn't have a care in the world. I tried to act normal, casual, like I wasn't hyper-aware of every move he made. But my body had other plans. Every time I glanced his way, my stomach flipped. And then, like something out of one of my daydreams, Seth looked over at me. Not just a glance, a look, and I froze. "Hey, are you helping with decorations?" he asked, his voice smooth, effortlessly calm. Yeah, I am," I stammered, immediately regretting how ridiculous I sounded. But instead of laughing at me, he just smiled. That smile. And for a second, the world tilted. "Cool, I'm Seth." "I know." The words left my mouth before I could stop them. My face went hot. Oh my God, why did I say that? But instead of looking weirded out, Seth just chuckled. "Nice to meet you, I didn't catch your name." "Ava," I whispered, feeling like my own voice might betray me. "Ava Williams." "Ava," he repeated, like he was testing it out. Then, casually, like it was no big deal, he said, "Maybe we can work on something together later." The weeks leading up to homecoming blurred into late nights, spent decorating, shared moments filled with stolen glances and accidental touches. And in all of it, I started to notice something. Seth was paying attention. He'd say hi in the hallways, ask if I was okay when I looked stressed, even brought me coffee one morning with a simple, "Figured you could use it." It was small things, but they mattered. And suddenly, he wasn't just Seth Anderson, the untouchable guy everyone wanted. He was Seth, the boy who was noticing me. Then, homecoming night arrived. The butterflies in my stomach felt bigger than ever as I stepped into the gym. The lights sparkled like stars, the music thumped in my chest, and for a moment, it all felt surreal. Then I saw him. Seth stood by the punch bowl, laughing with his friends, but when his eyes met mine, everything else faded. He smiled, and suddenly, I was walking toward him without even realizing it. "Hey, Ava," he said, like we were the only two people in the room. I smiled back, my cheeks warming. "Hi, Seth." He stepped aside, making space for me. "Wanna dance later?" I didn't hesitate. I'd love to. And just like that, we were there in the middle of the dance floor. His hand rested on my back, his breath warm against my ear. The music slowed, and as we swayed, I could swear the world melted away. It was a moment straight out of the kind of love stories I never thought I'd get to live. Later, as we stepped outside for some air, Seth turned to me. his expression more serious than I had ever seen. "I've been wanting to say this for a while," he started, his voice quiet but firm. "I think you're amazing. I've liked you for longer than you think." I blinked. "You do." He nodded. I was just too nervous to say anything, but tonight I couldn't wait anymore. And in that instant, all my doubts, all my insecurities just disappeared. But life isn't a perfect fairy tale. We graduated. He went to college in another state. I stayed, chasing my own dreams. We tried to keep in touch, but time and distance did what they always do. We drifted apart. And yet, I'll never forget that night. The way he looked at me, the way he made me feel. It taught me something, that love, real love, isn't just about happy endings. Sometimes, it's about learning to be brave, about embracing the moment even if it's fleeting. I didn't win him forever, but I won something else, the courage to believe that love, no matter how brief, is always worth it. And maybe, just maybe, that's the most beautiful thing of all.